This is Steve Halleck of TickTocking. As always, you can find me at Steve Halleck on Instagram and at TickTocking.com. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a shootout. And maybe I'll do more of these as I get in, cool pieces that kind of can be compared and contrasted with each other. But today I have two of really the all-time greats. So I figured this would be a nice place to start. On the left here, we have the Greubel Forsey Signature 1, and on the right we have a custom-ordered, unique Roger Smith Series 2. So, obviously these two are quite different to look at, but they really belong in a similar category, and that is the category of kind of 99.999th percentile strive for perfection in a time-only watch, right? So this is Greubel's take, the Signature 1. It's just got, hours, minutes, seconds, this big exposed balance, but it's not a tourbillon. It has no other complications. It's just got the kind of signature kick-ass Greubel handmade, hand-done finish. And on this side, of course, you've got Roger Smith, who's the king of the handmade watches with his, lineage down from George Daniels and kind of desire to bring back traditional British watchmaking. So you can excuse the leather strap. I have that on this piece, although I do think that it highlights really the main difference between these two, and that is that the Roger Smith is very simple. It really is a purist watch. You have to know something about it in order to understand it. It might not jump off the wrist to your Starbucks barista as being something cool, which is a plus and a minus, right? For some of us, if you spend a lot of money on a watch, you want it to be something kind of really spectacular looking. But to some others, the idea of wearing what might be the best watch in the world on your wrist and having nobody really notice it is kind of very stealthy and cool. And you definitely get that with the Roger Smith. The Roger Smith, of course, has a more kind of handmade vibe. Here you have the work really of one man. He does have a small team. But Gribble is a brand. They have, I think, something around 100 employees there. And it's a little bit more of a fully polished, obviously serially made watch versus this that is completely hand done and custom ordered and that sort of thing. Let's flip them both over. The Gribble has this very sparse look with these fat bridges and the exposed wheels, this black polished bridge over the barrel, and this very cool integrated click that you can see in my full review of these. Whereas the Roger Smith, this particular version has some custom ordered engraving. It also has this beautiful black polish. Here, these are gold and very highly polished wheels. You have a coaxial escapement in this one, obviously as developed by George Daniels and continually perfected by Roger Smith. But here Roger's chosen for a pretty traditional 3/4 plate covering the wheels, whereas here Greubel has kind of gone out of their way to expose the entire gear train of the watch. So two different approaches, two different ways to show a high level of craft. You do have actually kind of a similar finish. This is this traditional gilt finish. And here, this is Greubel's take on the traditional gilt finish, where they've done kind of the same or similar technique, but rather than using the gold color, they've done it in this silver and this kind of anthracite color. So both are really expertly done. It would be almost impossible to find fault in either of these watches. But they're pretty cool to see next to each other, right? Size-wise, the Greubel's 41.4 millimeters. The Roger Smith is 40 millimeters. The Greubel looks a lot bigger. They're about the same thickness, probably. The Roger Smith is in white gold, the Greubel's steel, and that makes this one quite a bit heavier, even though it's smaller. So let me show you the two of them on the wrist. First, the Greubel. So this watch has a lot of depth to it. It's a very nicely proportioned. It feels very good on the wrist. You've got a lot of play with the light, with these black polished surfaces and the contrasting surfaces, the blue dial that kind of changes color based on the light. And it looks like a very technical piece, right? Most people would notice this moving balance and see that it's a very technical watch, even though it is fairly simple mechanically. Now, let's take a look at the Roger Smith. The Roger Smith, mainly you get the play from this unbelievably gorgeous hand engine turned dial and these heat blued hands and indices that have this kind of purple hue to them. So there you can see this one on the wrist is definitely smaller. It is kind of more chill, right? You don't have this balance wheel going crazy, although you do have a similar kind of light play because of there's these differing engine turn surfaces within here, there, and there, and it really picks up and plays with light as it moves. But again, I think most people would see this watch and not really necessarily know anything about it or pick up anything or remark on anything. It's kind of just a pleasure for the owner himself to know how fantastic this is. And of course, if you ever find a watch guy out in the wild, they're gonna, have an accident in their pants when they see something like this. But whereas this, the Greubel, is very much a, while it's kind of simple and one of these sort of simplicity type watches, it's still a lot more kind of in your face. The level of finishing is not subtle. It's expertly done, and it's a watch that wants you to know it's expertly done, and you don't have to be a watch expert to see that it's expertly done. So there you go. It's kind of a just different variations on the same theme. Both of these, I think, could survive very well in a collection with each other. And there you have it. That's the Greubel Forsey Signature 1 in limited edition steel with blue dial, and the Roger W. Smith Series 2 in white gold with custom dial and movement. Piece unique. Not going to see these two next to each other very often, if ever. All right, hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you.